If you run a small business in Singapore, you have almost certainly heard the word SkillsFuture, but most of what people know about it is aimed at individuals, the personal credit that lands in a citizen's account to spend on a course. What far fewer employers realize is that there is a whole side of SkillsFuture built for companies, designed to make it easier and cheaper to train the people who already work for you. That is what this video is about. Over the next few minutes, we will unpack what SkillsFuture support for employers actually is, the main ways it can lower the cost of training your staff who broadly qualifies, and how the process works, all in plain English. One important note before we begin. This channel is educational only. We are not a government agency. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by SkillsFuture Singapore or any government body, and nothing here is official advice. The schemes, the funding levels, and the rules are set by the authorities, and they change over time, and some schemes open and close, so please treat everything here as background, and always confirm the current details on the official source, skillsfuture.gov.sg, before you act. What this means for employers, let us start with the big picture. When people hear SkillsFuture, they usually picture the personal credit that every eligible Singaporean gets to spend on their own learning. The employer side works differently. It is a set of support measures that help companies pay for training their own workforce, so that upgrading your team's skills does not have to come entirely out of your own pocket. Broadly, this support shows up in a few forms. There is funding that helps cover the fees of approved courses. There is support that helps offset the wages you keep paying while your staff are away learning. There is an enterprise-level credit that some companies can use to defray out-of-pocket costs. And there is extra help aimed specifically at smaller companies, because an SME feels the cost and disruption of training far more sharply than a large corporation does. Put together, the intent is simple. Make it less painful for a busy employer to send people for training so that skills across the workforce keep rising. Course fee funding. The first and most familiar lever is course fee funding. In plain terms, when your employees attend a course that is approved and supported under the SkillsFuture system, the government subsidizes a portion of the course fees, so your business pays only part of the sticker price. The keywords there are approved and supported because the funding applies to courses that sit on the official list, not to just any training you might find. The subsidy is either taken off the fee at the start or claimed back afterwards, and often the support flows to the employer who paid the fees. There is also an important wrinkle for smaller companies. Under enhanced support for SMEs, qualifying small and medium enterprises can receive a higher rate of funding than larger firms for the same courses, which meaningfully lowers the cost of upskilling a small team. I am deliberately not quoting you exact percentages because those rates are set officially and have been adjusted over time. What matters is the shape of it. Pick an approved course and a slice of the fee is supported, with smaller companies often supported more generously. Absentee payroll support. The second lever, one that employers value even more once they understand it, is absentee payroll. Think about the real cost of training. It is not only the course fee. It is also the fact that while your employee sits in a classroom, you are still paying their salary, and they are not on the shop floor or serving customers. Absentee payroll support exists to soften exactly that blow. When you send eligible staff for supported training, the scheme can help offset a portion of the wages you continue to pay during those training hours. As with course fees, the amount is capped and defined officially. It is a portion rather than the full salary, and there are conditions about who and what qualifies. Smaller companies, again, tend to see stronger support here under the enhanced arrangements for SMEs. The takeaway is that SkillsFuture for employers is not only about cheaper courses. It also tries to cushion the productivity cost of having your people step away to learn, which is often the bigger worry for a lean team. The third piece worth knowing is an enterprise-level credit, most often referred to as the SkillsFuture Enterprise Credit. The idea is to give eligible employers a pool of credit that can offset the out-of-pocket portion of certain workforce and business transformation costs, including some training, on top of the regular subsidies. In other words, it is meant to reduce what you still have to pay after the usual funding is applied. This one comes with an important caution. Enterprise credits like this are often introduced for a defined window, with specific eligibility conditions and claim periods, and they can be adjusted, extended, or brought to a close by the authorities. That means an employer credit that existed last year may work differently, or may no longer be open today. So rather than assume it is available, treat it as something to verify. If it is running when you look, understand who qualifies, what it covers, and by when it must be claimed. And if you are unsure whether a credit or balance applies to you, check the official SkillsFuture Singapore channels rather than guess. Who broadly qualifies? So who is all of this broadly for? In general terms, this support is aimed at businesses that are registered and operating in Singapore and that send their employees for training that is approved under the SkillsFuture system. The employees themselves usually need to meet basic conditions such as being genuine staff of the company, and in some schemes there are distinctions based on citizenship or residency, which affect the level of support. On top of that, the enhanced rates we mentioned are meant for companies that meet the official definition of a small or medium enterprise, which is based on things like the size of the business. In keeping this deliberately broad, the precise eligibility rules, the exact definition of an SME for these purposes, the categories of eligible employees, and the list of supported courses are all set officially and updated from time to time. The spirit is that this is for real Singapore-based employers investing in genuine training for their own people. But the exact qualifying conditions are something you must confirm on skillsfuture.gov.sg rather than assume from a video like this one. A typical example, let us make this concrete with a made-up illustration. Imagine a small retail company with a handful of full-time staff that wants to move off pen and paper and start using a proper point-of-sale and inventory system. The owner finds a relevant course on the official supported list that teaches the team how to use digital tools for retail operations. Because the course is approved, a portion of the fees is subsidized, and because the company qualifies as an SME, that subsidy is at the enhanced rate. While 2 staff members attend the training over a few days, the business applies for absentee payroll support to help offset part of the wages it keeps paying during those hours. If the company has an enterprise credit available and it applies, it might use that to reduce the remaining out-of-pocket cost further. Notice the pattern. No single scheme pays for everything, but stacked together, they turn what looked like an expensive, disruptive week into something a small business can realistically afford. That is the whole point of the employer side of SkillsFuture. A few mistakes trip employers up again and again, so let us name them. The first is assuming everything is free. The support is generous, but it is a subsidy, not a giveaway, and you will almost always carry some share of the cost yourself. The second is training first and thinking about claims later. Many forms of support have conditions on enrollment, attendance, and claim deadlines, and if you miss a window or skip a step, you can lose support you were otherwise entitled to. The third is choosing the wrong kind of course, one that is not on the approved and supported list, and then being surprised that no funding applies. The fourth is misjudging eligibility, either assuming your company qualifies for the enhanced SME rate when it may not, or the reverse. And the fifth, the one this whole channel keeps repeating, is relying on second-hand figures from an old article or video instead of the official source. Funding rates change, schemes open and close, and the number that was true 2 years ago may simply be wrong now. Every one of these is avoidable with a little planning and the habit of checking the authoritative channels first. How to check and apply. So how do you actually move forward? Start on the official government channels rather than a forum or an old blog post, because that is the only place the current schemes, rates, and processes really live. The main home for this is skillsfuture.gov.sg, and employers typically manage courses and claims through the official SkillsFuture Singapore Employer Portal. A sensible sequence looks like this. First, get clear on the skill your team actually needs, so the training solves a real problem rather than just spending a budget. Second, find a course that is approved and supported, and check what funding applies to it and to your company. Third, understand the steps and the timing for each type of support before you enroll, so you do not miss a condition or a deadline. Fourth, send your staff, keep proper records of attendance and fees, and submit the claims through the official process. I want to be clear about one thing. We cannot apply on your behalf. We cannot approve or guarantee any funding for anyone, and no one can honestly promise you an outcome. What you can do is prepare well and apply through the proper official route, which is entirely in your hands. Quick recap. Let us pull it together. SkillsFuture is not only for individuals. There is a whole set of support built for employers, designed to make training your own staff more affordable. Course fee funding subsidizes a portion of the fees for approved courses, often at an enhanced rate for smaller companies. Absentee payroll support helps offset part of the wages you keep paying while staff are away learning, cushioning the productivity cost. An enterprise-level credit may, when it is open, help reduce your remaining out-of-pocket costs, though you should always check whether it is currently available. This support is broadly aimed at Singapore-registered employers training their own people in approved courses, with stronger help for genuine SMEs. And because the exact rates, definitions, courses, and claim rules are all set officially and change over time, with some schemes opening and closing, the live details always come from skillsfuture.gov.sg, never from memory or from a video. A closing reminder: remember the spirit of this channel. Our job is to hand you the map and the vocabulary so that schemes like SkillsFuture for employers stop feeling like alphabet soup and you can walk into the official pages already knowing what you are looking at. But the official sources always have the final word. Nothing here is a promise that your company qualifies, that any particular course is funded, or that any figure you heard is current, and some of these schemes will change or close over time. So when you are ready, take a real training need in mind, read the official SkillsFuture pages for employers, confirm the current eligibility, funding levels, support and deadlines, and prepare from there. If this made SkillsFuture for employers clearer, subscribe for more plain English Singapore grant and scheme explainers, and we will keep turning these programs into plain English, one scheme at a time, so you can stop leaving training support on the table.